So I am with Fangoria, and
Cool.
I
Love
have to
Fangoria.
ask, the first question every time I sit down with somebody is, are you a horror fan, and what are your favorite horror films?
Yeah, you know, what do I love? I love Halloween, you know, easily one of those. Creep Show is great.
Yeah.
Like Tales from the Crypt, all that kind of stuff was always really great. You know, I don't know, there's tons and tons. The new It's are really good. I like those.
Yeah, you know, I had the chance of seeing that in LA, and I will have to say I didn't sleep for a little bit after that. There's something about clowns, sewers, teeth, just, you know, for me it's
and then
just...
all of like Memo del Toro, you know, all of his stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that's just really wonderful. Devil's Backbone, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, this film was also wonderful, and I had the absolute privilege of seeing it last night, as I was saying with you and Robert
with all my
Rodriguez,
family.
with
Yeah,
your
exactly.
family, like so many just awesome Texasites sitting in the auditorium watching.
Yeah.
You said something that I have to bring up today.
Yeah.
You were talking about the audition process.
Right.
And how you didn't actually know what you were really auditioning for at first.
Yeah.
And you went in and you read this scene from Collateral.
Exactly.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because I thought that was just
Well, first of all,
great.
I was geeking out with you. I've worked with Robert. He of course directed Matador, the show that I did for him on El Rey Network. But that was the first time we've actually sat down together and watched a movie, and he's sitting right next to me, and we're eating popcorn, and he's just, you know, have you ever seen, speaking of horror, of course, the Thriller video, Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
There's a shot of him early in the video where he's just like eating popcorn. His eyes are as big as saucers. He's just enjoying the experience, and that's how Robert Rodriguez watches a movie, just eating popcorn and just watching, smiling, laughing. But yeah, you asked about the audition. Yeah, no, I read a scene from, it was top secret, obviously, with these big movies, and the script was still being developed, and you know, Jim was coming up with new ideas all the time, and so what we had to work off was a scene from Collateral where I played the Tom Cruise part, who was the assassin, who was trying to convince the driver, played by Jamie Foxx, to take him around town and help him, you know, complete these murders, and. He wanted somebody who can be super, you know, approachable and super, seemingly very genuine in his, you know, kind of his friendly facade, and then be a charmer, and then of course then be able to, in a drop of a hat, just drop it and become, you know, kind of a stone cold killer. And that's what we had to go off of, and I just assumed that it was the Terminator because it was the assassin, you know.
Yeah.
And later found out that yes, in fact, it was. And not only that, I could split. I could become two Terminators and all
That's
these really great bells and
crazy.
whistles. So yeah. It was
when
wonderful.
you got to shooting the scene with the state troopers, were you like, or the Texas troopers, were you like,
Right.
oh, this makes so much sense now?
Yeah. Well, that was my screen test actually. In the end, that was the first bit of the script that I actually. The scene is somewhat different now in the final film, but that was the first inkling of what I got, what this character would be, and it was great because I could, in a lot of ways, I could just be myself, you know, just act naturally, as John Lennon would say.
So I also want to talk about some of the practical effects that we actually get to see in this. Of course, there are tons of digital because it is the Terminator.
Of course.
But scenes like the underwater scene that you do.
Right.
Walk me through, you know, just kind of the physicality needed and the skill sets needed just to make some of these effects come to life and the scenes in this film.
You know, looking back, all that training I did, I mean, I absolutely needed it, literally, just to make it through the weeks. You know what I mean? Just my body had to be that strong just to survive. And then I was really proud of where we got in terms of my physique and my stamina, and so I was able-bodied and ready for all that. And the underwater stuff was really interesting. It was a lot of, you know, attacking this Humvee as Linda and Natalia are trying to get away, and this
How
really
do you
great
do
diving
that
bell.
Underwater?
Well, you know, you try to keep your eyes open and still, and you know, make the moves big and sharp, and of course, you know, because you're supposed to weigh 500 pounds or whatever it is, and you know, and try to maintain control while you're under there. And this is a lot of core strength and, you know, lung capacity. Of course, I had a diving buddy, Dave, British Special Forces.
Dave, the diving buddy.
He would bring me my air, he'd go off, right, Dave, get out of the frame, he swims off, we do the thing. And then a lot of stuff with Arnold, we just wrestled around, we did dry for wet, so we're we're in a studio especially that stuff where we're standing on the bottom of the lake, you know. So that of course couldn't be done practically. So we did it dry for wet, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, you also have a ton of experience with shooting here in Texas. And Fangoria, who's owned by Cinestate, it's a production company based...
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, another favorite of mine.
There you go. Like, we're based in Dallas, and so we love the Texas film community. Just talk to me about your experience shooting here and why it's important for film to come to Texas.
Well, I'll say, tagging on to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original like gas station where they end up at the very beginning of the movie is on this land out, I forget where it's out, a little east of here, out by Abbott Labs, where Abbott Labs used to be. My brother's grandmother used to work for this family, the Robinsons, that owned all that land, and that gas station is right there, which is really cool. But yeah, I've shot a bunch of pictures here, you know, Fall to Grace, Dance with the One, a film called Spring Eddy, some of those early indies that I did, and you know, it's just an amazing place. We have a lot of really talented filmmakers here, so there's a lot of resources to draw on. The area is beautiful, especially here around Austin. Yeah. Robert still shoots all his stuff out here, and then I think it's important that we promote the arts and we encourage. You know, we need to offer these incentives so we can get these big budget productions in here, so folks can. You know, so those productions can benefit from the great talent we have here, and then we can benefit from the economic boost. So I think it's very important that we try to encourage that.
You know, a lot of people who are diehard fans of Terminator, when they first heard another Terminator coming out, they were kind of like, oh, okay,
right.
We've got what, 6 already that Arnold's been a part of?
Well, only 3 now.
Only 3 now, but you know, they kind of were like, what is this next chapter going to be?
Right.
And James Cameron has come out and said, I really wanted it to be about Linda, and I wanted this kind of evolution, this study almost of what happens when a Terminator is left behind. Well, not only do we get that, but we get a new Terminator that is something we've never seen before. So just talk to me about like bringing this franchise back in a very different way and being such a crucial part of it.
I think that Linda, Sarah Connor, is the soul, the heart, the spirit, of the story, and always has been. And so the fact that Jim was able to convince her to come back is what got me excited as a fan, just to be in the seat whenever the film opens November 1st. And now, just to be a part of it was completely unexpected, but just a great opportunity that I relished, and I tried to give, you know, every ounce of myself to it, just give it all. My Terminator is interesting in that it has a lot of the capabilities of those first 2. You know, it has an endoskeleton like Arnold's T-800, which is a carbon-based alloy, which has more points of articulation, so it moves in this really kind of gnarly kind of way, and it's lighter and faster because of the nature of its composition. And but while he had a flesh exo that could be torn away and burned away, and you know, eyeballs that could be pulled out, I have a liquid metal skin, much like Robert's T-1000, and I can turn into other people. I can produce the blades and knives and stabbing weapons, and then of course what's cool about this one is I can split and be both at once, and operate remotely as 2 separate Terminator units.
I love how you smiled really big whenever you're like, blades.
Exactly. Yes.
That I could stab people
hands.
with.
My stabby hands.
Well, I truly loved this movie. I had so much fun watching it, and I'm just really excited for audiences to see it.
Right on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Like, seriously, it's such fun.
Cool. Thank you very much.